Folks, we have got some very interesting news coming from Israel today. And basically what we are finding out is that Israel is going to be heading to elections again. Yes, probably sometime around October 25th. And that is because the Knesset is going to disband. And very interestingly enough, this is something that was mutually agreed upon, not only by the current coalition to disband itself, probably because of a lot of weakness that was going on, yet both sides of government, in essence, agreed to allow all of this to happen so that they could head into elections potentially in a stronger position. Now, I think that there's a very interesting dynamic going on there, and there are some biblical implications of this, of course. First of all, let me just simply say that, as many of you may already know, Bennett will no longer be the prime minister, and the person who will take over will be the foreign minister, which, of course, is Yair Lapid, and that should be a very interesting dynamic to watch that happening. But what is even more interesting is I think that what we may be looking at is the end of the left in Israel. I think that they have been recognizing the fact that their positions are weakening, especially because of the stands that they have taken against their own people, particularly with respect to Israel and Palestinian relations. Of course, the Palestinians, or at least the Palestinian Authority, has no desire for the existence of Jews, while Bennett's government seems to want to bend over backwards to give them whatever they want. Now, that's terribly destructive, and there's a real problem with that. But there are some other implications, of course, behind this. Certainly, I think this will open up the door for the Likud party to really have a place of prominence in this new government, of course, that will form as a result of the elections. I think that we'll very likely see Bibi Netanyahu back in office. That would be amazing, from my lips to God's ears, right? Or potentially Israel Katz. I think either one of them will probably be in that position, and I think it's going to be a very interesting thing to see what happens as we approach that time. But let's put that aside for a second, because we need to look at Israel's relationship with Russia and how rocky that has been, and how that has sort of become a issue of real concern, especially because Russia has been very assertive about the way they feel concerning certain aspects of Israel. First of all, we know that Russia, roughly about 8 months ago, actually declared the western border of Syria, slightly to the north of central Israel, and of course to the east of Israel, to be sovereign territory, the sovereign territory of Russia, which is very interesting, because what has also gone with that is the declaration of Putin through proxy of one of his people that basically said that the Golan Heights was an area to be contended for, unlike what has been accepted by the United States under Trump's administration. And so we are beginning to watch some instability like we have never seen before. Now, when you go look at Ezekiel chapter 38, you understand the fact that Ezekiel declares that there will be the leader, presumably of Russia. His name is Gog, or his title is Gog, from the region of Magog, with a conglomerate of nations that will, in essence, attack Israel. But here's the part a lot of people don't talk about. They have, in essence, a close relationship with one another, and Israel will be surprised by the attack. Now, I think a lot of this relates to the extended efforts of normalization between many nations and Israel, and of course, there's a lot to do with the situation that is currently going on, where Egypt is being used as a proxy to basically deliver or bring delivery of natural gas from Israel to the EU in an effort for the EU to get around having to buy anything from Russia. So all of this is interesting, and all of it to say there's a lot of wait and see what happens. But what is so powerful and so unique and so remarkable is we're watching everything move in the direction of what we know is going to happen in the end times. So folks, here's the deal. Look up, because Jesus is coming soon, and there are some really interesting things happening. And by the way, I would just simply say, if you are not in the habit of praying for Jerusalem, right now would be the time to do it. Pray for the Jews, pray for Israel, pray for Jerusalem, because Jesus is coming soon, and we care about these people, and we want God to give them his very best, which we know will happen eventually. But may God protect them during this time. All right, we love you guys. God bless you. That's all I got for today.